Okay. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon once again, and happy Self-Esteem Day. So those who joined us yesterday, you would know what we actually learned, some very powerful tools, some experiences. Some of the participants shared their experiences, their thoughts, their knowledge. So thank you for sharing your experiences, your knowledge on what we were discussing yesterday all together. So today, I'm just going to go briefly into a revision and then we're going to carry on where we left yesterday. So, uh, just briefly, what we learned yesterday, if you can just rewind yourself into that. We learned about the feelings that we have when we have a self-esteem and the feelings that we have when we are not in self-esteem, which means when we are negative. Anyone who wants to share feelings that you have when you have good self-esteem, when you're feeling really up, confident? Okay, I'll share a few of them with you. If you would remember being happy, inner peace, respectful, having the ability to accept criticism, having the ability to learn from mistakes, having the sense of independence, experiencing success, tolerance. So these are the qualities when we have actually the higher level of, or let's say even a good level of self-esteem. And then when there is a lack of self-esteem, then yeah, it's sadness, it's inner turmoil, there's being critical of yourself and to others, dependency on others, not being able to come from the past, living in fear, insecurity. And then Garvey Ben actually shared quite a of other things as well, which was on personal experiences also. So you would remember many of them. I think Sam also shared a few things, and yeah, everyone chipped in with here and there a few things. Okay, so from today, we're going to move forward with where we left yesterday. So I'm wonderful, having that feeling I'm wonderful, living it, raising your vibrations, and then we move on from there with the next one. Okay. Do I have a control Garvey pen on it? Let me try if I can move the slides myself.
Yes, you should have it now.
Okay, let's try. Okay. Okay. So the power of positive thoughts. If you create positive, powerful thoughts about ourselves, our qualities and powers, the energy of those thoughts will heal and change past negative beliefs. As we shared yesterday also, that it's important that we transform the energy rather than absorbing it or reflecting it by answering back in the same way what we heard. So it's more about invoking your own power, emerging your own powers, become awareness, having the awareness of those powers, and then living with that, going forward with it. And that also not just actually empowers you as a soul, but also it has the ability, it has the power to heal and change your past beliefs. I learned a very good thing some years ago that there is a word which lies in beliefs. Can you find out that word? It's right in front of you. Anyone? There is another word that is there in belief. Read that and then find out what is the word I'm talking about. Yeah, that's true. Lie. So that's correct. Thank you, Naveen. Yeah, so we just having that belief, and sometimes we see there are so many debates going on, some fights going on, arguments going on. It's just based on beliefs. There is no proof of that. But yeah, some of them make sense, but many of them that doesn't make sense. Yeah, not going depth, but it's just for your attention. That's it. So yeah, the power of positive thoughts. Come on, move forward. You do it, Gariban. I think I can't move. Okay. Now this is a wonderful understanding. The power to tolerate. Sometimes we think we are tolerating, but not necessarily we are. Um to give you an example, in any kind of task that you're doing together, whether it's a couple, whether it's at work or a team, um, if you're actually just not saying anything, you're not agreeing to the other person, then you just go quiet. You're not saying anything, but you're still angry inside. That's not tolerance. That's not tolerance. Tolerance is when you accept it, you continue with it, but at the same time, you don't have any bad feelings about the other person. And that actually keeps you calm as well. Otherwise, you won't be able to say that I'm tolerant. You're not really tolerant. You're just zipping your lip, but you're still boiling inside. So, tolerance is actually a wonderful virtue. Having the ability to tolerate others is, in my personal understanding, it's a wonderful virtue because you're not actually getting yourself affected with their behavior, with their attitude, even with their unforeseen behavior, I would say. Sometimes, a person can become aggressive to you. So I'll read this with you. The images of a child, you see that in there? S- Throwing stone at a tree. Fruit is falling from the tree. To be able to tolerate is to have the power to give fruit whatever is being thrown at you. Is it difficult? I invite all of you to just think about it for a few seconds, how difficult it is to be able to give back even though you're being thrown under the bus, or how easy it is. If we go back to the qualities what we learned yesterday, there were a number of qualities. I think there were more than 20 of them. The qualities that we feel when we are actually in a good stage of self-esteem. If you think about it, especially if I go back to criticism, if I go back to having the sense of independence rather than having a sense of dependability. So if you think about it, yes, it is possible. But again, we might have to go through some situation where we actually do it. When we do it, we experience it. That becomes part of my subconscious then. That becomes parts of my personality then. So to tolerate is to have the power to use the appropriate quality or strength to deal with the situation. Okay. Okay, moving forward. Now, transforming feelings. Again, very important. How do we actually, like yesterday, I said you transform it. I think it was Sudhira who shared one of her experience where someone was passing a comment to her that she's being aggressive or she's showing aggression. But that's just your opinion. Very nicely, calmly, you just reject someone else's comment coming your way, or having the ability to take the criticism and just saying, no, 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 I'm not that. It's just your opinion. That's it. Simple. Because she was able to actually detach from what was coming on her side, you know, and then also observing your own feeling. So I ask you now, if someone has, given you a hard time or made a comment that you didn't like, then what you do, you detach yourself first. If someone tells you that, um, I think it's common when someone can tell you, "Oh, you're selfish," and you get hurt. But ask yourself, detach yourself from that comment, and to really ask yourself, "Are you really selfish?" You're not. Good. If you are, accept it. Maybe don't say anything. Just say, "Thank you for that. I'm going to work on it," and you really work on it and observe your feelings at that time. And there shouldn't be any kind of judgment. whether towards yourself and even towards someone else. You just observe whether you were that. If you were, you just have the thought that you're going to transform it. You're not going to be that the same person anymore. And identify your feelings. What are you feeling? If you're taking that comment, what your feelings are at that time. Are you feeling hurtful? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling irritated? So ask yourself these questions. If you're not feeling that, and if you straight away say, as Sudhira shared yesterday, no, that's just your opinion. So I don't think your feeling will get hurt that badly. Maybe not at all, because you're identifying your feelings now and you're being kind to yourself. Again, you're not getting yourself affected with someone else's words or even with their behavior. And then you understand your feelings, understand what is actually causing you. If it is causing you feeling low or feeling sad, then understand your feelings. What is it causing you? Maybe at that time you just want to sit down, reflect on what's going on within yourself, within your own mind, reflect on that, and then find a solution that how you can overcome that. Because most of the people in this world nowadays, I'm sure all of you would agree, there are a handful of people who will actually be nice to you, or when they are nice to you, there is a purpose behind it. Otherwise, it's very easy to criticize someone. It is very easy just to be aggressive to someone or throw stones at them. So the world is like that now. Now, what would I do? Am I going to fight with everyone? That's going to drain my energy really deeply. So you can do these kind of courses, what we're doing on this weekend. So you just imagine you do this for 2 days a week, but you got 5 days off the battlefield. How are you going to cope with it? So find yourself a solution that no, there is something that I can change where I'm not going to let those things affect me. Those things affect my feelings, affect my emotions. You kind of create a transparent barrier which only you can see. Maybe not they can see that. That's fine. And you look for a new response after this. Then you find new ways. What is it that you need to do so that you can probably transform that energy, transform the even conversation at that time. And very importantly, as the last point says, you value the opportunity to change. If that situation didn't hit you, didn't came across you, you didn't have the opportunity to change yourself. You didn't have the opportunity to realize that there is some weakness in you that you need to give attention to. Okay, any questions, anyone? Okay, we go to the next slide. Now, as the last one we shared about the solution-based approach, by thinking about, researching, and reflecting about your inner strengths, we can bring them into our lives. So these are all qualities that you can actually bring into your own lives. All you have to do is you have to reflect on yourself. You really have to give some time to yourself, whether you give yourself 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day, or if you can split 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon during your lunchtime, and 10 minutes in the evening. At least you can give yourself a split of time and then reflect yourself. Let's say in the morning you design how your day is going to be. You think about some good things, some virtues. You would say, no matter what will happen today, I'm not going to lose my happiness, for example. No matter what will happen. And then in the afternoon you check yourself, check up on yourself whether you lost it. If you lost it, then you can again tell yourself, guide yourself, okay, from now until evening I'm not going to lose my happiness. And in the evening, then you put yourself on a chart and see how good were you in managing that one virtue. Or you can also select 5 virtues for the whole day. That's totally up to you. I'm just giving you one of the example on happiness. Yesterday we did a short exercise, smile and think about something negative. It becomes difficult. So if you just think being happy and you think about being negative, they both cannot go together. There was one slide that Gurvi Ben was sharing about, if there is darkness, that means there is no light. But when there is light, there is no darkness. So both of them cannot go together. So again, positive, negative, same time cannot go together. Okay, move forward. Now, again, just like power to tolerate, this is also a very good virtue or an exercise, which is power to accommodate. The ability to accommodate is accepting and moving with someone else's flow, celebrating and working with another's ideas. I think it happens a lot, especially at workplace and in relationships, uh, maybe in couples. And if you've got young kids, then yeah, it becomes even more challenging at times. I can certainly understand that. But how do you accommodate each other's needs, each other uh, qualities also, but at the same time, if you can also accommodate someone else's or each other's habits, there are, the other person is not exactly like you, and you're also just not exactly the same person that what they want you to be. So there is always this gap, and you fill that gap by accommodating these things. So if you have the ability to accommodate this gap, which means this is your virtue. The ocean expands as river flows into it. So ocean actually accepts all of it. We know, especially nowadays where we learn about climate change, we are now understanding how the ocean is accommodating so many rubbish into it, but yet there is no complaint coming out. And I think it's good. So you actually what you do is you expand yourself so that you can allow some more space in yourself. Again, this is not something physical which is possible. It's all about your own feelings. You expand your feelings. You just expand your ability, which is invisible, and then you let it accommodate. And you will not really complain about these things then. This is your ability, this is your power to accommodate. They may operate completely different from you, but it is your ability to actually expand your own feelings. You accommodate, you're not really bitching behind, you're not saying something about them to someone else. So it all requires a good understanding of your own quality. For example, fearlessness. Uh, no one can actually hurt you unless you allow them to hurt you. Again, we shared some experiences yesterday. Some of you shared your experiences yesterday. How you don't allow something else coming from outside into you so that you don't feel hurt. And the last line, to accommodate means to be able to mold and shape to any situation, allowing it to develop naturally. So, for example, if someone is getting angry on you, you are calm at that time, but later on you can talk to the person and say, hey, the way you spoke, it doesn't actually suits your personality, you know, because every person is not 100% wrong all the time, all the time. They can be angry, but they're only angry on occasions, or they are angry in most occasions. But it's not that they're angry all the time. I don't think that's possible for anyone. In the same way as you think, oh, it's difficult to be happy all the time, then I would say to you, it's difficult to be irritative all the time, isn't it? So there are patterns of our own feelings, but you decide what you need to increase, whether you can increase the level of your irritation and be irritated all the time or most of the time, or you increase the level of your happiness. Then you can increase the level of your self-esteem, in which you have so many other virtues that you can use, and you don't feel that other things, you don't let other things affect you or affect your own life either. It means to be able to extend your capacity more than before. So what will happen is you will automatically start understanding what is coming your way. We'll learn more about that when we go forward. Go to the next slide. There we go. So this is quite interesting. If you don't accept your negative feelings, you will be in danger of projection, displacement, rationalization, denial, suppression, and confusion. I'm sure all of you know about projection, isn't it? So what happens is projection is whatever you have in that small machinery, it goes either on a screen or on a wall, and you can see that in a bigger picture. Yeah, and then you can also adjust it. So that's exactly what is sometimes happening in yourself. If you're projecting your negative thoughts, then you can actually probably seeing that in other person. You feel like everyone is like that to you all the time. Displacement. You find another person or you find an alternative to vent out your anger. That's displacement. So ask yourself, are you that person? Does it happen often with you at your home or at your workplace? Rationalization, this is interesting. If anyone is trying to make excuse, oh, actually, I don't have time today, or actually, I never have time for all these things. But yeah, we do have time for entertainment. We do have time to eat something to give energy to our body. But yeah, it's like making excuses. So ask yourself, because what happens is negativity doesn't allow you to think better. You have to make a little bit of effort, and that little bit becomes slightly bigger and bigger. Then you start overcoming that. Denial, as I was saying yesterday also, that denial is something you're ignorant. So you will say, no, no, I'm fine, but inside you're really angry. You're frustrated. So yeah, that's negative feeling, and you're suppressing yourself. You're not saying something. What I just recently shared in the past light intolerance. You're not saying something, but you're still boiling inside, and the point will come when you will really blast. You may really come out loud. So be careful. Are these some of the thoughts going in your mind? Are these some of the feelings which are going in your mind? So you start working on it so that you are already pampering yourself. Give yourself some good feelings, some good thoughts. And there are so many tools that we shared yesterday, and now we're going to share many of them today also. We don't want you to stay in confusion. It's the opposite of anyone? It's the opposite of wisdom. So when you are in good self-esteem, you are already wise. You are already in the wisdom stage. But when you're not, then you're confused. Then you won't be able to make good decisions. Okay, next one. Accept yourself. So accept yourself with what you are right now. What are the good habits that you have? What are the good thoughts you have for yourself? And what are the not so good thoughts for yourself? What are the habits that you are looking forward to change? And you must look forward to change them. If you're not looking forward to change them, you're thinking it will happen. Well, it hasn't happened for now, all these years, which means you have to make an effort to do something about it. Okay? Okay, the next one. So we are actually moving to next session, but we're going to have a very short meditation right now. So what we have learned yesterday and also what I have just shortly shared with you and what you have understood about it. So we're going to have a very short meditation. Is it possible just to have music only, Garvey Band? And while we are doing that, we can open the third session. Thank you. Whether you're standing or if you're sitting, just make yourself comfortable. If you're doing an activity using a headphone, just stand there for a few moments and think about your goodness first. Think about your virtues. I am loveful. I am confident. I have the power to tolerate. I am an accommodating soul. My feelings have the expansion place. Because it's invisible, it can also be infinite. The physical heart has a size, but my feelings are infinite, and that gives me the space to accommodate. That improves my power of tolerance. This is I am. I'm wonderful. I'm tolerant. I'm loveful. I am accommodating. This is I am. So this is a short meditation that you can do for yourself also, anytime during the day. Okay? So it will recharge you, and it will also remind you of your inner being. Now, what we have just done is an example of reflection. It gives you the space to contemplate, which might be needed for your own development, for your own progression. And we're going to study more about it now. Okay, so let's take the first one, relationships. We also shared yesterday, I am the soul in the middle, and then the roles which I'm playing. I'm playing the role of a mother, or as a parent, or as a child, as a boss with a job which I do. So there was a diagram, if you all remember. Do you all remember from yesterday? Yeah. So we shared about that diagram yesterday and all the roles which I play. So it's same with relationships now. So having the relationship with ourself, what kind of relationship I'm sharing with myself. And again, it's quite funny when I say that if you are in your own company and you're miserable, you're definitely not in the right company, which means you're not in the right state of mind at that time. So anyone living on their own can feel lonely and can also feel solitude. It's the same situation, but it's how we actually approach to our own life. So having a relationship with ourselves, with others, we have so many other relations. We have your son, daughters, parent, boss, or we are also working under someone, the colleagues that we work with. So there are so many other relationships that we have with others, including our friends. Very important actually with nature and the environment. What we consume, how is it affecting the environment? Just think about where we live. Uh, from starting your day in the morning, the amount of water we use, the amount of electricity we need, including public transport, the amount of fuel we burn. It's a necessity. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but just be attentive of what you're using, the cosmetics that we are using, and how much in total. I mean, I remember my cousin told me long, long ago, maybe 2 decades ago, he said, do you know how much water does each person uses a day on an average? And I said, maybe 20, 30. He said, no, much more than that. So I'm talking about at least 20 years ago, he said to me that the amount of water each person uses a day was 135 liters. 135 liters each person. We shower, we wash hands so many times, all the food that we use for cleaning and cooking. So there is a lot actually around us, and not just that, what we're using right now, what are the other products that we are using that needs water, including washing our clothes. So there is a, I mean, big talk about it. Nowadays, people are very aware of climate change, things like that. So if you're aware of some of the other things, let's say, to give you one example, yes, we know that London's water is very hard lime scale. So instead of buying bottled water all the time, how about having a jug, a filtered jug, and keep replacing the cartridge? At least if you're consuming good water, you're not actually creating so much of waste plastic for your recycle bins. So it's things like that. If that's possible, again, it's not an advice, it's just a thought. And this is something which I'm able to do. Maybe you're not able to do that, but if you're able to do that, please do it. Using shower or using a bucket and a small cup to take bath instead of shower. So things like that. And also what we eat. What we eat is also very important. Are we eating something which is live, or are we eating something which is a dead skin? So things like that, just give yourself some time, study about it a little bit more, and then you will know more about it. And very, very importantly, very, very importantly, because our own honesty, our own authenticity will allow us to have a relationship with the divine. Being true to yourself, really true to yourself, being really authentic will help you to connect with the divine. Otherwise, it is always a challenge. It is always a task to how do I connect to it? I mean, nowadays we know there are so many commentaries, there are so many people out there talking about law of attraction, connecting with the universe. What is universe? Are they thinking about, is anyone thinking about universe as if these planets, these stars, and something is going to create for me and I'm going to get what I want? Possibly, if that's what you're thinking. Or is it just about what do we have plants and trees and other animals around us, other human beings around us who are going to rescue us from what kind of situation we are in? Is that universe? Or is it one divine soul? Or the highest of highest? We can call it God. I call it God. And some scientists call it just universe, some energy. They know that. They know that very well. I actually met with a very renowned doctor. I mean, I can't name him, a very renowned surgeon, actually. And I asked him, I said, you're in the science, but he was very, very devotional person. And I asked him, I said, what do you see the difference between science and spirituality? He goes, I'm a surgeon for more than 25, 26 years, and I'm known for my surgeries. And I'm known for my surgeries because the kind of surgeries which I do, and after that, when I do the stitching, uh, stitching is so astonishing for me because once I do the stitching, I let the patient go, the healing happens naturally. I don't have to do anything. So I'm being given credit for something which I don't even do. I've just joined two skins together and I left it. But then the healing happens naturally. Who's doing that? It's the nature. The cells are multiplying. Yes, I can understand. But where is that getting the energy from? So I shouldn't be taking credit for that. That's what he said to me. And it's very humble of him. It's very humble of him. Like for any vehicle, anything that you think about, any machinery you think about, it requires fuel to run. Whether it's electricity, whether it's fossil fuel, any gas, we know that. Anything requires some kind of energy to run. And how are we running for all these years? Some of us are maybe in our 20s, some of us are in our 70s. So ask yourself, how are we still running all these years? Oxygen, food that we're eating, this is our fuel. And so we make sure that the fuel that we are actually using, is it the absolutely pure form of fuel that we're using? It's not something that someone has lost his life to give us energies or something like that. So it's important. We're going to explore more on that. The next one, can we win? So all relationships are a reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves. So if we can love ourselves, we can love others. A very small example I'll give you once again. If you're able to, when you're loveful to others, you actually give love to yourself first, isn't it? You can't be angry and say, "Hey, come here, I'm going to hug you." This cannot happen, right? So when you see a child in front of you, maybe you were angry already, and then you see a child in front of you crawling, saying whatever relationship you share with them, and suddenly you just calm down. Your anger melts down all the way to the bottom, and you just feel like, picking up the baby and cuddling with him or her. So what makes you feel that at that time? So as soon as you become loveful, only then you're able to give love. You are honest, and teaching someone else honesty will have some power. Otherwise, it wouldn't. And then again, if we can trust ourselves, we can trust others. Trust yourself. I mean, it's good to have some confidence, but it's not good to have ego about it. You continue to remain humble. You respect yourself, respect others. You can be content with yourself and you can be content with others. You know what you have with you. You know what the qualities you have, not just at a physical level, but also at emotional level. And you can also inspire them to be contentful. Okay, so then go to the next one. And then quality received from different relationships. And I will very much connect it to the divine source also. If you can try connecting it just to the divine source. As a father, we get guidance and protection. As a mother, we get sustenance, we get nurturing, love. Mothers are very easy to forgive us, isn't it? All of us. I mean, I'm still a child anyway, but all of us would have experience with our father and mother. Fathers are slightly strict. Yes, even I have that experience. Most of us we have will have that experience. But fathers are also the source of guidance. They know if one person is being very loveful, which is the mother, if one person is very easy to forgive their child, I can't be the same. I have to balance it out. So it's a beautiful relation that we have with our parents. So father has its own role to play, mother has her own role to play. And at the same time, we have friends. It's very easy to share our experiences. It's very easy to share what we are going through in our life. Maybe sometimes we don't find it comfortable to share it with our parents, but we can share it with our friend. The teacher, inspiration, guidance again. And the teacher, not just at the level of in schools and colleges, but also some other teachers in our life. It could be even our friend. A teacher, I think teacher can be anyone. Someone who's putting you on the right path is a good teacher. And then you got your partner, whether it's your husband, whether it's your wife, or anyone who just loves you. There is no such affectionate relationship between you two, but you can actually trust the person where you can share your secrets, the person who is caring to you and being loveful to you. So these are the different qualities we receive from different relationships. Next one. Now, whatever relations we just looked in the previous slide, uh, I will give you all few seconds and think about it. Can all of this be just you? Just you. Just one person, that is you. Look at the slide again, give yourself few seconds. A father? Ask yourself, can you be a mother as well? You're a friend already. How you can be a good teacher and how you can be a good partner. A mother who is very caring, very easy to go with, very easy to forgive. But can you also be like a father, sometimes strict, a good friend, listen to someone, a good teacher, making sure that your child is not going on the different path, and a good supporter. And children, you think about it. Can you be a father to yourself and a mother to yourself? Can you be a good friend to yourself and a good teacher to yourself? If you find it difficult to be a good teacher to yourself, then you think about some situations you've been in. That situation taught you something. That particular time, that particular era, it taught you something, something valuable. And have a good relation with yourself, a good supporter to yourself, a can-do attitude I shared yesterday. Okay? Okay, moving forward now from here. Now, what relationships we share and what kind of energy we exchange. Now, if we A plus B, independent, two separate entities, two separate beings. Now, A draws energy from B. B draws energy from A. Can you see that? Can you understand the relation between these two? Either you become A plus B, which means you both are independent, but you both can support each other. Or only A is doing something, B is not doing anything. Or B is doing everything and A is not doing anything. Or you're totally different from each other. You do your own thing, I will do my own thing. What's the point of living together then? And sometimes we have seen some experiences of other youngsters. Now, they don't actually take inspiration from their parents. So ask yourself, are we a good parent? Or sometimes they're not understanding you, then you try to explain them how you have lived all these years. And not just on a couple, actually. We'll go to friends also. Two friends, A plus B, two business partners. We have seen two business partners becoming really good. Two brothers, standing up an empire. We have some examples, including, I mean, I won't take the names, uh, but you would know many of them. They're good partners. And there are some partners who actually draws energy from the other person, really depletes them. Or you are actually going plus becoming independent, working together, and making a successful relationship. It can be even just friends, but you are successful friends with each other. And what you do is when one is down, the other one is not going down with them. The other one stays at a good level so that they can support person A to come back to the same level as B. So that's a very healthy relationship where you help each other out, when you're supportive to each other. Sometimes B is not well, but A recognizes what B is going through. And A says, okay, actually, I can see you what you're going through. I'm here to help you out. Or if when you don't say that, you just know what B needs and you provide that to B. And it's not always something physical. It is most of the time emotional level. You give confidence, you give inspiration, you become supportive, you talk to them, find out, and you can also give them some guidance. That's how also you support. Okay, any questions so far? I've been talking for a little while now. Any questions, anyone?
Looks like
Oh,
everybody.
hi there. Hi,
Hello, Sudhira.
Siddharth and Garvey. It's but what it comes to, it's like no understanding yourself and like you said, like bring out the natural being yourself, like knowing yourself and then if say for example I give love and respect, that means I am sort of like when I'm giving, I am receiving it at the same time. Is that right? So the more kind of like focus on my inner being and use them, and it will sort of like everything gets sorted. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes,
It's
yes,
just I
yes.
have to work on myself, like focusing on myself and accepting, and then like you mentioned, then accepting others becomes easy.
Mm, hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
So I have to kind of like just the focus is on me, on myself, on what I am doing. And if I am thinking right and using my inner values, I should be okay.
Yes.
Everything will go right. So this is the major key point.
Yes,
Is that
yes. Thank you for sharing that.
okay?
Thank you once again.
Thank you, both of you.
No, thank you for sharing, because sometimes what happens, if there is a realization and you share that, then
Mm,
others also get some confidence. Yeah, everyone looks to be on
mm,
the same
yes.
page. So
That's
thanks for
right,
that.
like the different perspective, maybe I
True.
don't know, I'm thinking, of course, from my perspective, so other
No, no, it's
people
fine.
can, yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Okay, so next slide.
Power to discern.
I think that's Garvi Ben is quite capable of explaining that. She's okay.
Yeah,
Go
I'll
on, Garvi Ben.
quickly touch upon the last point that we talked about. And something to add to what Sudhira also said. When you said it's all about practicing and focusing on yourself, it comes down to the choices that we make. It's all about the little and the big choices. And choice is essentially anything that you do when you decide that you want to change something that you have control over. When you have control over two dishes and you want to choose between those two, that is when you're making a choice, a decision. So all of these come into the picture there. Everything that we're talking about since yesterday until now, it is all about that, where you choose to focus on yourself, where you choose to build a healthy relationship, where you choose to make that connection with yourself and the divine. So taking this further a little bit, all these choices that we make, to practice this healthy relationship, A depends on B and B depends on A. There are some powers that we still, work on a little bit more. We've already discussed 4 of those. We talked about power to withdraw, power to back up, power to tolerate, power to accommodate. And then we go on to the power to discern. Now, it's a very interesting picture there. We see a jeweler who's, looking and inspecting at this diamond. And if you know anything about the diamond industry, it's that there's so many kinds of diamonds out there. And even a little bit of a scratch can impact the quality of that diamond. So the jeweler's job is to understand what is a real diamond, what is a false diamond, what is, the quality of these things, and to check whether what the diamond in front of them, if it's actually an illusion or if it's true, if its true value is showing through. So it's about cutting through that illusion, seeing that difference between true happiness, the truth that we, experience, that we are peace, we are love, we are happiness, and temporary happiness that we try to chase from other people around us. Again, going back to that picture that we saw yesterday, we are in the middle and we are chasing all these things around us. If we keep chasing everything, it's going to be very temporary. When we focus and, enhance all our powers and our virtues, things come to us on their own. So this is where you discern things. Discerning is not about, making that choice. It's just about understanding and judging things for how they are. Is this true? Is this false? Is this something that is of value to me? Will this give me what I desire? Or will this give me something that I really, truly need? So it's all about, checking. And if you have that eye for beauty and truth, you will always find the real jewels. We're always on the lookout for beautiful jewels. And when you take this a little bit further, we talk about the power to decide. The slides are jumping forward a little bit. Let me bring them back. We're on the power to decide. So this power to decide is about, that balance. That scale that you see in the picture, it always reminds me of, being in a courtroom and the judge is making a decision about that courtroom. So it's about weighing up what is in front of us. What is situation 1 saying to us? What is situation 2 saying to us? Evaluating it. But when you evaluate, you also have to be very aware that you're not influenced by the negativity of the situation. that you're not influenced by these emotions that you might be feeling at that time, that you're not influenced by what people's opinions are. When we take everything else into consideration, we forget what our true choice is. We get confused, and that wisdom to make a choice gets lost because we start, getting confused. So this decision is taken when you are in a stable point, state of mind. Our true qualities of peace, love, and joy come into the picture. And when you always, lead with peace, love, and joy, the decisions, the discernment, the tolerance, the accommodation, it all comes in handy. It all becomes, smooth and perfect. So then we respond in appropriate manners. They allow us to enhance our own strengths. They allow us to learn from the situation. They allow others to learn from the situation as well, actually. And everybody benefits. So when you, practice the power to decide, you lead on to commitment. You are committed to your action going forward because you have made that decision in a very, very stable state of mind. And you follow the course which is always right and always beneficial. Now, these two powers lead us to, recognize what kind of relationships are valuable to us, what kind of relationships are not valuable to us. And when I say value, I just mean the quality of those relationships. Are they healthy or are they unhealthy? Now, let's look at some of the unhealthy relationships that we sometimes come across in our lifetime. When we are in a dependent relationship, somebody else is making the choices for us. Somebody else is making the decisions for us. When it comes from someone else, they will never understand the true picture or the true desire or the true need that you have in that situation. And it may or may not always be the right thing. When someone, manipulates the truth in the situation, when they're trying to control how you act or think or feel or even say, and when they're, dominating and aloof from everything, they make you feel that you are not a part of their lives as much. They are either over-impressed by you and they don't see the true picture, or they're disappointed by you, which is again, not seeing the true picture. They don't accept you. They have these expectations and demands from you, which may not be ideal, which may not be something that you can offer to them. They judge. There is conditions on how they love you. They might love you if you do something for them. They might not love you if you do something for others. There are so many things that come into the picture. So all these, and as we go forward, you'll see more and more things on this list. But it is all a sign of an unhealthy relationship. The main takeaway here is that anything that feels where it's not aligning with your true nature, that it doesn't, let you be your peaceful self. It doesn't let you be your joyful self. It doesn't let you be your wonderful self. It is an unhealthy relationship. And the way that we check what we, don't want into what we might want is to look at this list. This is what a list of healthy relationships would be like. They don't want any control over your lives. They trust that you can make your own decisions. There is faith, there is belief, there is a lot of acceptance. There is no judgment involved in their relationship with you. Everything is, they allow you to be your true self. And because they are able to do that, they are letting themselves be their true self. And when true self and true self, let people do their own things, that is when we see A depend on B depend on A, but in a very true, healthy manner. It is the full circle moment of you realizing that the other person is also a different person. You cannot influence them. They cannot influence you. Yes, we may ask them for their opinion, but that is because we trust them. And their opinion will only come to you because they trust you. And it will be for both benefit. So a few more things from here. There's responsibility. They take their own responsibility. Everybody, there's an equal relationship. Not one will depend on the other more than what is necessary. They're forgiving. There's respect. There is no selfish behavior. So a lot of fun in the relationship. It shouldn't feel like it's too serious all the time, you know? Yes, we are equals. Yes, we are trusting each other, but we're doing it while we're having fun. And we are all happy and supporting and loving. And there's a true sense of joy. And going back to something that we talked about yesterday, that lightness, when we are being our true selves and others let us be that as well, that lightness comes with it. We lead this life in a very light manner. Everything's backed up, everything's tolerated. We accommodate all these things, and all these powers are being used in these healthy relationships. So it becomes a full circle moment. Now, this quote is a very interesting one. When I first read it, it did not make any sense to me. But then I said, maybe let me read it a few more times and try and see what this author was saying. The author is very, very famous. They have written several incredible books and is very loved around the world. So what they say is, and stand together, yet not too near together. So this is that kind of a hint into the relationship we want with others. Yes, we are near each other, and we support and we help and we love and we are near each other, but not too near each other. So we give them that distance. We are not controlling their lives. That is when it becomes too near. So you stand together, yet not too near together. For the pillars of the temple stand apart. In a temple, all these pillars, they have their own distance. And they are there because they need to support the temple in a certain manner. If all the pillars were standing in one line next to each other, the temple would just be a wall. It wouldn't be a full structure. So when these pillars of the temple stand apart, and when we go and see that structure, it is a reminder we are at a distance with the relationships, but we're not so far apart that we cannot support each other. The oak tree and the cypress grow not in each other's shadow. So when trees grow, they need to have their own space to grow into their full capability. If a large tree is planted near a small tree, something that might happen is that the small tree gets crushed because the large tree needs its space. And the small tree, if it's trying to grow near a large tree, it might hinder the growth of the large tree, maybe not by a lot, but somewhere or the other, the roots will start entangling. So even trees need their own space. When we see trees as the ever giving, ever providing, ever supporting, beautiful blessings of nature, they need their own space. So this is what the quote stands and resonates for me, how it resonates to me, that we can be and develop, this healthy relationship with others. To look for love. Siddhartha?
Okay. So again, this one, what we just shared in the previous slides, the power to discern and power to decide, and also in relationships. Now, this one again it makes a quite an interesting understanding to all of us. What kind of love you're looking for? Is it just an unsatisfactory endeavor, or is it something that I already am? So if you read the slide completely, and we'll go through that in a bit more detail. Again, a Buddhist teacher says that to look for love is a totally unsatisfactory endeavor and will never be satisfying because you're looking for it. It sometimes works and it sometimes doesn't. This is happening quite a lot nowadays. So that which works is true love. This brings emotional independence and contentment. Now, those who are constantly looking for love from a different person, and maybe initially they get something, they feel some connection, but over a period of few months or few days or few weeks, depending on what they are seeking with each other, it can last for longer or it will last for only a few days. And the journey is probably never ending then. They keep on looking for love from other people. Whereas if you are already loveful, you're already loveful to yourself. That means you're actually keeping and maintaining a connection with yourself, with your own inner being, true to yourself, then you will have that emotional independence. You will have that the contentment. You won't seek outside because you're already within. You will experience that within. Loving others is possible not only when the other person is accepting it, but at other times too, which means you're just being loveful. For example, mother, which is a very popular example for love, or even a parent, but mother generally are actually more because the mother is the one who gives birth to the child. And if child is not on the right track, if the child is not being helpful or loveful to mother, mother is always loveful to her child, always forgiving, always loveful. It's just unconditional. But we can ask ourselves, are we able to give unconditional love to people around us? Or to go to a higher level, to all souls around us. We're not seeing them on the gender basis. We are just seeing them as a soul. Are we able to give them love or share love with them unconditionally? Loving others has nothing to do with them. It's actually for your own self, I think. Because if you're loveful, you're already happy. You already actually have a high level of vibrations. And it's your own quality. They may not realize it, but it's if you're thinking that I'm going to share some love or give some love to someone, I don't think you can give love, but you can always share it. But again, it's a personal understanding to myself. But if I'm thinking, or any of us is thinking, that we can share love with you or I can give love with you, but I don't see that coming back to me, that means it's not true love. There is some condition behind it, there is some expectation behind it, and that will never let you become a contentful person, a contentful being. You won't feel contentment. Just be that. That's your quality. Don't think you're giving it to someone. It's just your quality. You're just being in that state, and that's it. They might get it naturally. Maybe you will realize you're not sharing, you're not giving. It's just happening naturally. Okay? Any questions, anyone? What Gurvi Ben shared and what I've shared so far? No? Okay, we'll go to the next slide. Okay, now this is a wonderful slide that we are going to do a little bit of reflection also as we move on to the last session. So this is the connection with the divine. Some call it Allah, some call it the Supreme Soul, some call it God, Bhagwan. So there are different names to it. But the connection is one, which is the divine, the highest of higher soul. By experiencing our spiritual self, it is possible to feel connected to a benevolent and positive source of energy outside ourselves. So we are not actually looking at the physical world around us or all these people around us. We're going actually above now. We will actually draw the energy, we will draw the power from the divine source, the top source. And this is what we are going to experience right now. We're going to have a music there. So wherever you are, you can again sit comfortably, or any of you who are using your headphones might be doing some activity. If you could just stand then and there only for a little while, or any space you can sit down on. It's only for 2 minutes. I draw myself from what I've been doing right now, and I focus on what I have learned just now, mainly the relationships. Connecting to myself, I'm connecting to my own qualities. And I stop for a moment and I start focusing at the center of my forehead. There's a diamond. And that diamond is me. I am that shining diamond. I'm this energy who has all the feelings of love, that is absolutely unconditional. Love is natural to me. And it's natural to me because I get this energy from up above, the divine source. That divine source is also a point of light. A shining diamond. So much brighter. Beautiful diamond. That's the source of my love. Invisible, but I can visualize. I can feel that source of love. The bright diamond up above. My parent, my guide, my teacher, and my friend. I establish these four relations with my divine. My parent, my guide, my teacher, and my friend. He can keep all my secrets. I can stop and connect to him anytime I want. He's there for me. He's happy for me. He loves me. I feel the energy coming into me, through me. Such a pure source of energy. It's making me shine even brighter. My brightness is expanding. All into my body, in the room where I'm sitting, at the house where I live. This is how I connect to the divine source of love, of power. And it's easy. Once again, He's always available. He loves me. He's happy for me. He is for me. Hey. So this is a short meditation how we really connect to ourselves and the divine source. Moving forward, this is our last session, which is on the art of inner balance. This is going to be quite short because most of the things we have covered now, we have understood now about self-esteem, we understood about relationships, we understood about emotions, our feelings. So this is most likely the summarize what we have learned altogether. So the art of inner balance is the capacity to be strong, but at the same time gentle, confident, and humble. I think humility is very important when we feel confident. Some people become confident and they become also ignorant, or maybe the level of ego also rises up with the confidence. So be cautious when you're feeling confident, you remain humble. If you're feeling you're strong, but you continue to remain humble. Because each positive quality has a balancing opposite. If you don't keep that balance, what you're thinking is your power, the same power will become a reason for your destruction. And that will be your own destruction. Okay, so we aim to find both gentle and strong positive qualities within ourselves. What is a gentle part of me? What is a strong part of me? And we use them wisely. Use them wisely. Okay, so life is a game where you will have situations coming your way all the time, plus or minus, which means negative or positive. You just have to handle it with wisdom. We have learned so many tools yesterday and today, so I think by now we should have understanding and how do we deal with this. And we have to deal with this. If we don't deal with this, we won't actually move on to the path of progression. So to be on the path of progression, we need these situations. Otherwise, how would you test yourself? So let these situations come on your way. Let this test come your way. Embrace them happily and say, okay, let me see where do I stand with these kind of situations. And I promise you, once you have passed it, that experience will something you will never forget. You would know how to deal with similar kind of situation again. Okay, so it's just about finding the right quality to redress the balance. Okay, go to the next one. Interaction with others. We learned about emotions previously. So what will happen if two arrogance will come together? There will be a war. We know what's going on out there, not just at the political level, but also what's happening within our own friend circle sometimes, or even ourselves with some of other people who we don't get along with. So what happens there, or we have seen it. Now, one is arrogant, the other one is worthless. That means the one who is arrogant will dominate, will pressurize. So that's a situation of domination. One is worthless, the other one is also worthless. Hopefully, this is not a situation of A and B, what Garvey mentioned previously. You can't both be worthless. One has to be actually up there to help the other one to come there. So worthless was apathy. Actually, there is nothing can happen. They need a third person now, really. So, and then humility, confidence with arrogance. As I was saying, that you don't misunderstand your own power. If you're feeling confident all the time, you remain humble. If you come with arrogance, then it's going to be so difficult for you to overcome your own challenge. And you will be responsible for the creation of that challenge, no one else. And humility going together, wonderful, respect. I'm sure many of you are sharing this kind of relationship with so many of your colleagues and friends. You just are there for the other person, and you have great respect for each other. And I think you can, if you're feeling this kind of relationship with any person, try using the same quality, the same virtue with the one you're living with right now, and experiment it. Maybe you can share your experience later on at any point. Can we move to the next one?
Yeah, just to take this a little bit forward.
Mm-hmm.
When we interact with others, we truly need to operate from, like you said, like from a place of worth. And the worthless doesn't actually come from the labels that others give us. The worthless is the label that we need to remind and check for ourselves. Is this a label that I'm giving myself? Am I worthy? Do I think of myself as worthy? If I think of myself as worthless, even when I am worthy, it will bring us into the situation of feeling worthless. Your belief and your understanding of yourself influences how you interact with others. So these things could be your true nature, your current nature, or these things could be what your current belief is about yourself as well. When to face any challenges, you need to practice and, develop this quality of reminding yourself, in challenging situations, I can recall my inner nature of peace and love. Every time I talk about powers, these two words come up again and again. And that is because that is who we are. If we only remind ourselves of who we truly are and what our virtues are, I think half the battle is won. Just reminding yourself of that. So I am more able to understand and observe my responses to these external scenes in life events. The external scenes is such a beautiful phrase, because when you just think of what you see around you as an external scene, it immediately makes you separate from that situation. It makes you, not attach your worth to it. It makes you not feel up and down in your emotions about it, because it's just external. It is like me watching a movie. It is happening on the screen. And whatever could be happening on the screen, right? Two people are fighting, there is war, there is a very happy function, people are sick, people are doing something else. Whatever's happening in front of me, it is an external scene. And these are life events. But I see beyond this immediate challenge. I look for this solution of benefit. I look for the benevolence on which my, thoughts will rest. Benevolence is just that, being generous, being kind, sharing the love, sharing the peace with others. So when I use my inner strength and you move through this situation with courage and dignity, you are able to face any challenge that will come your way. So however much I experience negativity, I know there is a deeper part of me that is pure and good. Whatever happens to us in our lives, even though you've had a very, very difficult life and, sometimes you become tough because of that, deep down, you are still very pure, you are very good, you are very soft. And this awareness that I am soft and pure and good, it makes me stronger. It gives me that courage. It lets me be honest with myself. It lets me take responsibility for my life. It lets me choose and make the right decisions. And essentially, I become capable to face anything that comes my way. So it lets me transform these thoughts and all these feelings that I have, however those feelings they may be. It allows us to nurture this into growth. We grow through these situations. We learn through these situations. We evolve and we transform. So how do you reaffirm your self-esteem? We have built ourselves up over yesterday and today. We have learned who we are. We have accepted who we are. We have transformed who we are. And we now know what are the steps, who am I, what to do, how do I want to talk to others, how do I want my relationship with God to be like. And that is all a part of my self-esteem. How do you reaffirm that for yourself when you go away from this session? Remind yourself, whatever you face, just stand back, take a step back, give yourself that space to feel whatever is happening, to understand and observe whatever is happening. Make that space for yourself. If you remember yesterday at the start of the session, we were talking about this inner space. There was a beautiful picture of a woman on a beach, and we had all these qualities listed there: peace, love, happiness, joy. So you create that inner space for yourself. You observe without judgment. You observe without judgment. The without judgment is the key part. That you take everything in and you don't expect it to be different. You take it as it is. And then once you have observed everything, once you have understood everything, you connect inside. You connect with your inner peace and calm, and you remind yourself of how you want to show up for the others, how you want to show up for the world. What should my external reaction be? And how do I change my internal state to be calm, to be peaceful, to be joyful, to be wonderful, and then put that outside. And we always want to respond rather than react. So taking the step back is the most important step of everything, because we want to respond. When we give ourselves time, when we have some time to think about how you want to, respond to the situation, half the battle is won, like I said. So this is how you reaffirm self-esteem. And this is not just for one situation, this is for most situations. And this is something that you do in that moment. But you also need a strategy for yourself. That strategy of, this is my first step, this is my second step. And a step-by-step process always helps you feel, okay, let me do it one by one and tackle this efficiently. So let us now look at strategies to face potential conflict.
Okay, so with this one, you just identify what is actually the issue. So let the person know, or you understand the other person, what is more important to them, what is more important to you. I mean, we're not here which are always connected, that you're able to just read their mind, what they're about to say. I know some people may have some experience that the other person thinks something and you're able to connect. I think some people have these kind of connections. But yeah, just identify the issue. And then you also understand what is your own aim. I mean, are you really looking forward to resolve the conflict? If you have the aim just to win the argument, then you probably win the argument, but you may not overcome the conflict. You have just won the argument and that's it. But keep your aim a bit more humble, keep your aim a bit more clear, that your intention should be to clear the conflict. Don't actually just argue over to win an argument. There is no point doing that, because that will lead to some unhealthy relationship. And it's also important that you're looking for, and why do you want to do that? Whether it's to live comfortably, you have peace of mind, you don't want to become arrogant, because that's not you. We are here to share with you the qualities, and we have shared some other parts of as well, which are not qualities, which are negatives. It's just for you to realize and understand how many of those negativity is something that you can relate yourself with, and you can overcome that so that you can also live a peaceful life. You can also live a happy life. So when you know your aim and you know your strengths, there is no need to be defensive then, because you know your aim. I think when you know your aim, you're focused on it, then you don't really think about arguments, or you don't really think about not winning the conversation. You're actually aiming to live a peaceful life. So that's more important. So identify the issue, have the aim, don't win the argument, but resolve the conflict. Okay, you're moving forward. Now the strategies to face potential conflict. So you use your inner strength. We shared so many qualities there. So use your own inner strength. And yesterday I was also sharing, then if you have to speak out truth, you don't shout out. You speak truth as if you are representing truth in a respectful manner. Don't see the person opposite you. You see the truth itself, and you present this truth as if you're presenting it on a gold plate. That's how you respect truth. And then you will see how truth will respect back to you. Have try this. Be generous. So understand that a violent responding way is not going to resolve things. It's going to make it worse. And again, what not to do? Avoid cutting humor, lies, demands, anger. So these are all negativities. I mean, you can find out if any of it relates to you. If it does, then just get rid of it. You just use something else instead. It's not that you can empty it, you replace it with a quality. So instead of getting angry, you just give yourself a few seconds and say, I'm going to say it a bit more loveful manner. And say it in a loveful manner. Say it more politely, more respectfully. And then you will see how the level of conversation changes. Okay. So the next one is the strategies for when there is a difference of opinion. I know sometimes, mostly it happens at either workplace or in the house. Otherwise, with friends, they are accommodating. They might say, all right, mate, no worries. What you say, I agree to it. You know, so it generally happens. So you just figure it out once again. Again, know your aim, that you're actually not winning the argument. You're here to resolve the conflict. And whatever you're experiencing, don't blame on someone else. Maybe there was something that needs to be cleared between you two, and it was dragging on for a long time, and now you're not experiencing something good. Then yeah, don't just blame. Just see yourself whether you could have done something better or something different. Accept your feelings, what you're feeling at that time. You make sure that you talk to yourself and identify what you're feeling, and try gradually transforming them. Talk to yourself and just ask yourself what different you could have done. And again, if you want to say something, you can say it very clearly, but in a calm voice. You're not shouting, you're not raising your voice. And also, do not generalize things. This is what people like you do. This is what a certain gender does. So don't generalize. I think it's very helpful if you don't generalize things, because people don't really like comparing to others. And if it is in a negative way, then definitely not. Yeah, you
They
saying something,
also,
Gagan?
they also don't like comparisons to their past self. So if you say, you always do this, or you always say that to me, that is also not fun. So
Mm,
generalization is not just about the world, but about their own behavior.
mm,
It's not ideal.
thank you. More to it.
Mm.
So the last two, yeah, you be active to listen, be open to listening, be open to talk. I think many things can be resolved when you communicate nicely, and you communicate with an aim that you want to resolve it. Communicating with an aim to resolve definitely resolve the situation. if both parties are communicating with an intention to resolve, you will definitely come to a resolution. I mean, there will be very few occasions where it can lead to any argument. But if you're really thinking that I'm going to resolve it, you will say, okay, fine, okay, you win, fine, go for it. But just close it, close the chapter. Don't drag it for long. Just close the chapter. And also acknowledge your own feelings and acknowledge their feelings. If you think that you may have unintentionally caused them hurt, then there is no harm in apologizing. I think apologizing sometimes also calms down the situation. Okay, the next one.
How to
There we
cooperate.
go. Cooperate.
I think that is a good segue for me to start talking about power to cooperate, because we just talked about difference of opinion, and to match that difference of opinion and to change that into something that everybody agrees upon, you have to cooperate. And this power, when you exercise it, I have seen that it builds the strongest relationships because both the parties are invested. Both the parties really, truly, from their heart, they want to cooperate. So what does it say? What does it say? Let me value everyone's contribution, knowing that the final accomplishment of peace and harmony is much greater than any single individual achievement. The simplest example of this could be this course. If Siddharth is speaking and I just get annoyed, why is he speaking? Or if I'm speaking and he gets annoyed, why is she speaking? That is not cooperation. That is not us both working towards the same goal. What we want to do is have 2 90-minute sessions, lovely discussions, lovely sharings with everybody involved. So we are both, working towards this a greater accomplishment versus one person's achievement. So this helps me stay light. It allows me to stay available for any task using my talents and skills when I'm working with other people. So at the workplace, I think this is the biggest thing to remember, that we are all working using our own different talents. We are all working using our own different skills. So it is very important for us to cooperate. I don't feel jealous or competitive, but instead, I actually proactively support everybody. So now I ask them to use their specialities. They are good at some things. Maybe I'm not good at those things. So I will encourage them to feel that way and use it versus me feeling jealous about it. Keeping the vision of a peaceful world in mind, I see everybody as equal. Like I said earlier, everybody is unique, everybody is special, and they play a very important part in this world. Even if one person did not do what they were here to do, the world would not function the right way. Everybody has their own things to do. This is why they are here. They have their own purpose. And peace is no longer just left in the hands of world leaders, prime ministers, other politicians, people who are religious leaders. It's not just in their hands or in conferences where people decide on these things, but because we are cooperating with each other in our own circles, that cooperation spreads around the world. It becomes into a global cooperation. So it makes a very peaceful way to contribute towards world peace. Now, taking this a little bit forward, this is where we come to. All these powers that we talked about, all these qualities that we discovered about ourselves, all the strategies and steps and tendencies and what is a good relationship, what is an unhealthy relationship, what is lack of self-esteem. Understanding all of these different parts brings us to this point where we know what self-esteem is and what we know about ourselves, our true virtues: peace, joy, love, happiness. So it is about how we feel about ourselves at any given moment. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked yesterday. When I say the statement, I am wonderful, you are wonderful, what do you feel? Hopefully your answer, if it was, yes, I am wonderful, stays the same. And if it was not that you don't agree with me, it has now changed. So thank you so much to everybody who has been with us for both of these sessions. I know we went over time today, but I hope these sessions were of some value to you and you took something away. I just want to ask a final thing. Does anybody have any questions? Any comments?
Yes, happy Sunday, Gary. This is Sandeep here. It's been wonderful. You both have designed this, Siddharthi and yourself have done a great job. I think three main things I picked up, and I'm just sharing with the group in a friendly family way, is number one, tolerance. I had a lot of it in my corporate background, but what happens is, as Siddharth said, that if you're tolerant, but you're displacing it, taking out it on other people, that's not tolerance, right? So I learned number one, if you're tolerant, then you're going to forgive someone thinking that, hey, this is a karmic cycle that's come back at me, and I have to find a middle path. Unless you're being harmed by someone, that's usually the middle path. But if it gets to a point where the Gita comes with Arjun, Krishna, and Duryodhan, then that's a different story, right? Number two, I really loved what was said about, I think Siddharthi mentioned this. He said that, I'm trying to pull up the information I wrote down here as I was typing through. The number one thing I picked up is if you're pure, truth, and authentic, you will connect faster to the higher energy, which is the energy of Supreme God, whoever the creator is, the Almighty. So this is all about you. You're the producer, the director, and the actor of your drama. You have to use all the tools you have to make sure this is a good movie. That's what I'm seeing. And so I feel the self-esteem, as I said, is important. As I mentioned yesterday, this is the bridge to self-realization in a very, kind of an Amazon jungle journey, but you still have to make the most of it. But what you guys have designed here is very nice. So thank you both for doing this. And Uptons.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. And I appreciate you actually took benefits of it. So that's more important.
I love that you took notes.
No, what I do is I type in my Microsoft Word, and then I just save it. So I reflect on it. I do that with Sister Shivani's program at night when I see her with that actor, Ms. Sureshji. So, but thank you both again. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
I had to write down all the things of yesterday, otherwise I can't remember too much. So I take the photograph, I write it down, then it goes in the mind a little bit more. Otherwise you will forget.
Wow.
So it's all there in the heart, but to come out is very hard, yeah. Because we keep talking to friends every time, argue. To come out from there is hard, yeah. So you need something, lessons like this to do.
So sweet. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Jagdish Bhai.